If you want to know what these are, stay tuned. Hi, good morning, welcome back to Mike Makes It. I'm going to refit these to my truck for the second time, and you'll see why if you look at a previous video. I'll link it in now. But cut a long story short, I've got to refit these to a new chassis on the back of my Land Rover that didn't come with captive nuts that bolts through these holes would fit the mud flap back to the truck. So I've got to fit nuts in some way, and if I move them out the way, you may know where we're going with this. Riv nuts, people call them different names. Basically, if you like, it's a tube of metal with a thread in it, and in most cases they're round. These got a hex shape to them, which I thought would be good in the Land Rover because I got a hex shape hole in the chassis. Unfortunately, it could be a imperial hex hole because the biggest one of these that fit into that hole still rotate. So a little bit disappointed on that, and I'm not going to faff about trying to find the right ones. I probably can still use these okay. But the size I need is 8mm. Now I've got a riv nut tool here, which will go up to, I think it's 5mm. Very old tool, but it works. And the whole idea, or how it works I should say, let's get this put together and you can see. Alright, there's the tool, a bit like a big pair of pliers. First of all, you install what they call a mandrel. It's anti-clockwise on this particular device. For the thread, then you put the nose on it. That's also anti-clockwise. Then the riv nut itself screws onto this in the normal manner. But as you squeeze the handle together, let's get this in focus, you'll see this area collapse. And basically, if you put this through a piece of sheet steel, for instance, it'll collapse and pull itself onto the back of the sheet steel, forming a really tight union. Now, I'll probably go out of focus if I move my hand. Yeah, there it goes. Right, now I'm squeezing. You can see that collapsing. We'll release that. You get a close-up, you can see here, that's where your sheet steel would normally be. So it almost like a rivet gun, in the same way as the rivet would squeeze onto the back of the sheet steel, or two pieces of sheet steel to hold it together. This will nip up onto the steel or aluminium or whatever material you need to put a threaded hole in. So as it collapses, it pinches really, really tight, so it's not going to go anywhere. And ultimately, you're left with this part still in the chassis or whatever substrate you're working on. And because it's got a thread in it, you end up with a captive threaded part in your chassis, which otherwise, if you imagine you got 1mm steel, you're not going to tap that out. And you may not be able to get a nut on the back side of it, and that's exactly the position I'm in with this mud flap. I can't get nuts on the back to put the bolt through, so I'm going to use something a little bit larger, but effectively it's going to be the same thing, just with a bigger thread. These are 12mm threaded inserts, are big devils. Now, I say this old set I got, they went from, I believe, 3mm up to 5mm, so not a terrific size, if you like, for Land Rover. Land Rover always seems big, but I've used that a lot of times on smaller equipment. But I bought a big set here, which should have done the trick, but this won't work. Only any good up to 5mm. So in comes the Aojsup professional rivet nut tool set, directly and mispronounced, from Amazon. So we'll have a look what's in the box. Unfortunately, it doesn't come in a nice little plastic container or sleeve or anything protective apart from the cardboard box. But look, you get a few riv nuts with it and the mandrels. and these are round in compared to the hex, but that effectively doesn't matter. What I need is find one of them that's quite a tight fit into the holes in the bottom of the Land Rover. So we'll go and do that now, see if we can fit a couple in. But I'll put links into the old video description for this tool. The only difference with this, apart from it's a giant devil, you lose functionality in the, not functionality, but your workspace or access, even if I get the right word, is going to be much reduced. In the sense, what I'm trying to say, you can fit this into quite a small gap. If you've got a membrane here or a sub chassis, you've only got about 4 inches, which is good. With this thing, that's probably a foot long. So if you had something stuck here and you wanted a big thread in another part of your chassis here, you ain't going to do it. You're going to have to... In my application, it's perfect because I've got 2 foot underneath the Land Rover, so I can get in with ease and put them nuts in without a problem. This would have been fine, but we don't have the thread size. 5mm, no good. 8mm, yeah, good. So we'll go out and we'll have a little pop on the Land Rover and see how we get on with it. Let's take you out there. I thought before we go out to the truck, we'll put this together so you can kind of see how it should work. This company calls this a pull rod. Other companies call it a mandrel. Either way, it's a left-hand thread. The tool comes with a bit of a spanner, so we'll nip that up. This end is for releasing the tool from the riv nut once it's been installed. Now we've got a nose cone, I'll call it. That just screws on here. Depending on how far you fit this nose cone into the device, depends on how far these arms come up. And how far the arms come up will dictate how far the pull rod pushes in and how much squeeze it'll push on a riv nut. Now you don't want to put too much force on it because you're going to snap this off. So it's a bit of sort of play it by ear. Don't be Superman on these. Just do enough to crush the riv nut. You'll get a feeling for how much is being crushed. But yeah, screw that on. Little addition goes on the end there. Now pop your riv nut on. And if I was to pull down on those handles now, I've actually installed the wrong one there. Hold on. Look, tells you the size. That's M12 I fitted there. At least they're handy. They tell you what size adapters you need. So let me have a rustle around in the box. Bear with me 2 secs while I find what I've lost. I found what I've lost. There it is, says M6. And that's exactly the one we're using. So screw that one on. I'm making a very good job of this. This is where the cone needs to be out a little bit further. The book of words isn't that descriptive, shall we say. But there you go. Sorry it's going in and out of focus here. But there's the 3 parts assembled. Nip this up. And we'll put the riv nut. I got one I prepared earlier that I want to use on there. So when I pull on those handles, that will compress the sides of the riv nut. Just undo that a little bit. You'll see it moving now. If we can get it in focus, you can. There you go. I'm pulling down on the handles. So that's pulling down. Pulling against this nut. And if I kept going, it would crush the sides. So what I'll try to do, a little demo here in mid-air, which I'm not sure is going to work. I don't think it is going to work very well. But put that down there. You really do need to hold the riv nut square to the metal you're fixing it to. Now we're a little bit in mid-air here. But see if I can get it. I'll see if I can get it in shot. This is where I need an assistant. Right, that's probably the best you're going to see it there, I think. Let me get it right underneath. Hold on. I've got a big heavy block of metal somewhere, which has now disappeared as I tidied the bar. Here we are. Right. See if we can get that straight under the camera. There you go. No assistant needed here. We'll go sideways as I pull down on the handle. See how it's collapsed the side there? Now, I can feel on the pressure on the handles I'm putting on, it don't want any more. So I'm going to use this knob. We'll release the tool from the riv nut. And that's what I was trying to demo. You've now got probably, I'd say, 6 or 8 mil of thread in this instead of 2.5 mil in the steel. And in my case, you put your 6 mil bolt in there and job's done. And that's exactly what we're going to do on the Land Rover. So we'll go out and stick a few of these riv nuts in the Land Rover, and hopefully we can mount some mud flaps. Sorry that went on a bit, we're jabbering away, but I think you got the idea. If not, you got your book of words. These are from Amazon. All links are going to be in the description. From memory, it's around about £20 for this. I will check. They vary. You can get cheaper tools, you can get better tools. I've picked one that looked all right, and it come with a selection of riv nuts, so you're ready to run straight away. But yeah, let's get out to the truck and do a bit of riveting. Right, there you go. That's where we're going to riv nut. We're ready to go. I might get in your way. I'll try not to. But keep it square. Don't go cockeyed with it. Keep it square. Pull the handles, but keep pushing the riv nut into the metalwork. And here's a bit of force got beyond on the 6 mil. That feels if we compressed it enough. So we'll just undo that, and there you go. Effectively a threaded hole in your chassis. We'll do one more. I think we're on shot for the next one as well. Keep it square. Release the tool. See? Voila! All done. So I've got 3 holes down there, all with threads on, ready for me mud flaps to go back on. So I'll do that off shot, but I appreciate you watching my YouTube channel, I should say. Thumbs up would be great. Please subscribe. Tell all your friends, they might be interested as well. But yeah, thank you very much.